Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy BB27, and welcome to the top 10 weirdest SML videos. So for this list, it's going to be a little bit different than, my previous list where we were just ranking best ones or worst ones. In this video, I wanted to count down the weirdest kind of slash just most like disturbing SML videos out there. The ones that kind of, pushed boundaries a little bit with how weird or uncomfortable they got. Because like every SML video is a little bit weird to an extent, but like these ones are really bad. Like some of these, not so bad, but most of them are like pretty like sick, and you probably never want to come back to them again. So we're just gonna hop right into it with number 10. Alright, for number 10, we have Jeffys Kids. So this is a pretty infamous video that actually caused a lot of damage to Logan's channel back then when it got uploaded. This is a pretty old school Jeffy video during his like worst years before he kind of became, more tolerable. This video is extremely weird. The entire premise is basically Jeffy has sex with a Cheerio box, gets it pregnant, and has kids with it. So it's like one of the first times they ever did a Jeffy's like kids video or pregnant video, which yes, there's a lot of them, and a few of them will make their, appearance on this list. This is the first one, and this one is just all around weird. It isn't so much even just the plot. I mean, the plot is just god-awful. It's disgusting. But there's even things that happen in the video later on with Brooklyn guy that are just disgusting, and just stuff that doesn't really need to happen, but then does, that just adds on top of the weirdness that's already going on. Like, this one is really, really weird, and you're gonna hear me say that word a lot, but I mean, this one's pretty bad. It's a video that I personally hate. I think it's like a 0 out of 10. Not so much just because it's disgusting. I want to make it clear before we get deeper into the list, like, I actually don't mind weird or gross video ideas. It's just they need to be, implemented well. They need to be done well, and if they're not done well, they can turn into something actually disgusting or horrible, and it gets ruined and it ruins the whole video. A video like Jeffys Kids is a great example of, a weird idea that maybe could have been okay if it was done in a better way, but the way they did it was just bad, and it was just overall terrible. So yeah, moving on. So for number 9, we have Bowser's Mistake. This video actually isn't as bad as the last one, and it's not as weird or disgusting, but it is still very weird. It's a little bit disturbing of an idea. Basically, the idea of it is Bowser accidentally sends, a dick pic to, like, I guess Junior or Chef PP. It's been a really long time since I watched this one, so I don't fully remember, but that's kind of the premise of it. He makes a big mistake because he's trying to talk to a girl, and he accidentally sends it to Junior. So he freaks out, he breaks Junior's phone, and then it just kind of trembles off and the plot just kind of stops. It's an SML short, which those don't happen anymore because Logan wants money, and he's made that very clear. So that's kind of the reason you never see SML shorts no more. But this is one of the last ones, and it's, it's funny. I don't hate it. It's not a terrible video. It's definitely a weird video, but it's not a terrible video. And it's a better example of doing a weird video well compared to Jeffys Kids, which just wasn't done well at all. So yeah, it's a little bit better, just, odd. So moving on. So for number 8, we have Pregnant Jeffy. So yep, and yet again, another Jeffy has kids or is pregnant or gets someone pregnant type of video. I don't know why Logan made so many of these. One is enough and should have never happened, and yet he makes another one. And this one is also pretty old school nowadays compared to some of the more recent stuff. So it's a little newer than Jeffys Kids though. It's back in 2020. It's a pretty infamous one as well. This video is actually a reason a lot of people will claim that Logan is Elsa-gate, which I'm not going to explain what Elsa-gate is. You guys should know about that by now. But yeah, people will literally call SML's channel Elsa-gate just because of this video. So the idea here is a bit of a weird one. I believe, from what I remember, it's Codys has another invention, which they don't even make videos like that no more. That just shows you how old this is. But he has another invention, and he tests it on Jeffy, and Jeffy gets pregnant from it, and then he has a weird Jeffy kid, kind of similar to Jeffys Kids in a way, but it's not with a Cheerio box. It's just great. Okay. Thanks, phone, for that notification. I needed to know that. Anyways, yeah, this one's just fucking shitty. It's awful. It's just god-awful. Again, it's gross. It's uncomfortable. Who is coming up with these ideas? It's bad. It's a little better because it's you know, it's a little more, I guess, interesting than, like, the Cheerio box one, but it's still bad, and, yeah, it's very weird, obviously. Moving on. Now we have Codys Hot Dog Restaurant, which some of you guys might be expecting this to be like number 1 or 2, since this one's really bad. This is actually a much more recent example of a weird video. You know, this one actually got taken down. Logan took it down himself because it was getting like age restricted and wasn't making money. So yeah, it's pretty rough. The entire plot is Cody opens up a restaurant, and then it's just immediately gay jokes. Like, right off the gates, it's just a gay joke, a gay joke, a gay joke. The entire video is gay jokes. And don't get me wrong, like, they're funny, and it's a pretty okay video, but it is very repetitive, and it's a little bit ridiculous to the point where it's just like, okay, you know, he's trying to shove hot dogs down his throat, and, you know, it's very sexual and gay, and it's just like, it's a little bit too much of that to be good. Like, it is a funny video, and I did kind of enjoy it when I first watched it, but it's you know, it's ridiculous. They overdo it, and that's kind of what led to it getting age restricted. I think that's what happened, and it's just bad. It's just bad. But it's not like, it's not awful. It's not the worst thing he's done, but it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a little uncomfortable, to say the least. They overdo it with the hot dog stuff, which really affects the video a lot and makes it one of the weirdest ones they've ever done. So, yeah. And it's surprising, too, because they don't really do weird videos anymore nowadays. I mean, there's always, like, weird moments in SML. That's always going to be a part of the channel. But, like, videos like this, like, super uncomfortable videos, a lot of these so far have been older ones. Like, Bowser's Mistake, that's older. You know, Pregnant Jeffy, that's older. This one, though, was very recent, and that's kind of weird. So, yeah, moving on. So, for number 6, we have Jeffy's pregnancy scare. Yes, it's kind of getting ridiculous, but there's another Jeffy pregnant video, and this isn't the last one. This is not the last one on the list, which just makes it funnier, but this one's actually the best one. I'm gonna give this one a lot of credit. It's actually, I mean, yes, it's weird, and it's kind of gross, but it's only bad if you actually know what they're talking about. This one's really not bad at all if you just don't understand or you're too young. But if you get the jokes, I mean, yeah, it's a little weird, but there's nothing like too uncomfortable about it like some of the other videos I've covered. But I still put it on the list just because it is extremely weird, and it's just, the whole plot of it's pretty funny. Pretty much what happens is like a big misunderstanding sort of situation. Jeffy bumps into Penelope and breaks her piggy bank, and then he tells his family, like Marvin and Rose, about it, and they're like, oh, you broke her piggy bank, and then the whole idea is that they think that Jeffy had sex with Penelope and got her pregnant. That's the whole thing, and the entire video is made up of undertones and just like, basically just like innuendos, like type of stuff, like just like, you know, they're very like jokes that you would have to kind of understand, because if you're too young, you're not going to get them. That's kind of the whole point of it. It's just funny, and it's not extremely disturbing like the other ones on this list. It's just more so kind of weird because it's like, okay, yeah, Jeffy obviously didn't do that with Penelope, but, you know, they want you to think that, and everybody in the video thinks that, but then it gets revealed at the end that it's not, and that's just hilarious. I really do like this video a lot. It's probably the best one on this list. So yeah, it's just hilarious. It really is good, but it is still weird. So moving on. So now we have Jeffy's Naughty Magazine. I couldn't do this list without putting this one on here, and again, it's extremely recent, like it literally came out this year, and I even reviewed this one, and I gave it a very high score. So I don't hate this video at all, but this video is so weird to the point where they had to blur half the screen for pretty much the entire video. Like, the idea of it is all about, you know, porn magazines, and Jonathan and his mom is in it, so you already know it's gonna be extra weird when you have characters like that in it, and then everybody's like fighting over the magazines the whole video, but because of what's on the magazines, they have to blur out the whole screen, and that just adds to the funniness and just how weird it is. You literally have to blur out all of it. I kind of wish, you know, they didn't do that, but I understand why they did that, and I know a lot of people hated this video because of the blurriness, but it really isn't that bad. Like, I can kind of get over it. It's a hilarious video. It's odd for sure, and, you know, I like it, but yeah, I can kind of see why the blurriness would be a little bit annoying for some people, but I just think that adds to it, in my opinion. Definitely one of the more tame ones on here, for sure. It's definitely one of the more tame ones, but everything after this, it's just fucked. Like, here's a fair little, warning. Everything after this video is fucked. So let's get into that, the last few on the list. So now we have Shrek's Crappy Wish. This one, if you've been watching Logan for a long time, you know this is an old school infamous video. It's completely disgusting, it's vile, it's uncomfortable, it's just downright sick. It is really bad. I mean, yeah, a lot of the Shrek videos are weird and gross, that's kind of the whole point of his character, but this one really pushes it, which is why it makes the list so low. The whole idea is that he poops and then he can't find toilet paper, so then he's trying to get Mario to help him out, and this is back when, Marvin was called Mario before they almost got sued. But basically he tries to help him out and he gets turned into a donkey and all this stuff happens with him. I'm not going to get too deep into the video, I could maybe review this one someday, but it has all this stuff going on with him as a donkey. He's trying to turn back into, like, a human, but in order to do that, Shrek makes him slurp up his diarrhea out of the toilet at the end of the video, and then he doesn't even get turned into a human, and then he just did that for nothing. It's just complete. Sorry about that. Anyways, yeah, he fucking does all of that just to not even be turned into a human. It is genuinely one of the grossest things, especially from the older days of SML. It is disgusting. Like, watching it is so bad, bro. Because you imagine it, right? They don't really show it, but you can imagine it, and there's, like, the sounds and everything. It's bad. It is just weird. It's gross. It's just awful. Ugh. We're gonna move on. Alright, now we have Jeffys Daughter. Here's another one that made me honestly want to just jump off a bridge because of how weird and sick it was. I mean, at this point, these videos aren't even just like, oh, that's kind of weird. No, these videos are getting to the point of just like, I cannot watch this anymore. Like, this is actual torture. This one's really bad because it's literally incest. That's kind of the whole point of it. And I think I did a rant on this one a while ago. It's pretty awful. Jeffy, the whole plot of it is like Jeffy gets Rose pregnant, and he doesn't like do anything with her to have it happen, but he technically like makes it happen, and then he has like another deformed kid, which I don't know why Logan is obsessed with having Jeffy have weird deformed kids. This is not the first time this has happened. This is probably the 5th time it's happened in the channel's history, and it's just like, dude, stop making videos where he has weird deformed kids walking around, especially in this one. I mean, it's his own mom, bro. Like, what? Like, what? It's so disgusting. It's genuinely uncomfortable to watch. It's miserable. It's like maybe a 0 or 1 out of 10. And it's not even just like all of that, right? That's bad enough. But there's a lot of filler. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of nothing going on, which just hurts the video. But it's already such a disgusting concept that there's no way to do this one right anyways. This is like too bad. You can't really do a plot of fucking incest correctly. So yeah, moving on. Alright, so for number 2, we have Bowser Jr.'s girlfriend. Now, that and the title, it doesn't sound that bad. You might think, oh, why is it so, low on the list here? Why is it one of the weirdest ones ever? It's because his girlfriend is Cody's mom as a kid. Yeah, this is a really weird one, and a really, like, disgusting one, again. This is straight up, like, EDP 445 type of shit. So, his mom is, like, sad because, like, she keeps getting cheated on 1,000 times, so she has Cody invent this, like, gun or whatever, or I guess he already has it, and, like, turns her into a kid so that she could feel, like, young and happy again. And then she starts hanging out with Junior, Cody, and Joseph, and then she starts falling in love with Junior, and he hates her, which is, what you come to expect. It's, it's normal for the most part, until he randomly starts liking her back, and they start dating, and then eventually they kiss, and that's just awful. That scene is like garbage. Like, that should have never existed. And then she turns back into like an old, fat pig, and he starts making fun of her again, like, oh, you're a fat pig again, huh, you're a whale, and then it ends. But like, dude, this whole idea should land somebody in prison. That's how weird and bad this video is. And I told you guys, these were gonna get bad. And this one is no exception. This is awful. This is just straight awful. I mean, at this point, I'm starting to kind of understand people who are like, okay, yeah, SML, It's a little bit too much sometimes. It really is. This one is just straight up disgusting, but it's nothing compared to the last one, the number 1 spot, which is a little similar to this one, but it's worse in my opinion. And that one is Joseph Falls in Love. This one is the weirdest, the grossest, the most uncomfortable SML video I think I have ever seen. And there's some really bad ones out there, but this one I absolutely hate. I did a rant on this one way back in November. During that time, I was like doing videos off the computer, and it was just like, I was so mad in the video, but I feel like I never really expressed how much I actually hated this entire video, because this video is so many examples of so many bad things. The entire plot is that Joseph, of all characters, falls in love with Cody's mom, and this time she isn't a kid, so it's not like the last video where they try to make it normal, but it's not. It's just, you know, it's still absolutely disgusting. But anyways, she's an adult, you know, in this one, and he still tries to hit on her and flirt with her and get with her, and then later on he makes a move on her, and it's like, I don't even want to get into it. It's so fucking bad. It's so disgusting. And basically she rejects him, and then she leaves. And that's not all. That's not the only really awful thing that happens in the video. I mean, yeah, that's the plot, but then there's Cody's uncle. There's like a bunch of weird jokes about Cody having an uncle that like try to touch him and shit, and it's like really like some EDP shit again, and that's mixed in with all the stuff happening with Joseph and Cody's mom. It's like, it's just absolutely fucked, you know? And then there's a whole scene with Junior and Cody in the bathroom, and it's on the dick pic and shit. Like, that's a whole thing too, which that's not as bad. It's more just like goofy Cody being gay type of stuff, but it's just so much. It's so much gross, awful stuff compressed, you know, into one video. Like, it's too much. It's too gross, it's too uncomfortable, it's too weird, and that is why it's the number 1 on the weirdest SML videos ever. And honestly, it's truly disturbing, in my opinion. I hate this video. Another example, though, I wanted to mention before we end this is that it's an example of how far Joseph has fallen. Like, ever since the human puppet switch, a lot of characters have been extremely flanderized and turned into worse versions of themselves, you know. But Joseph, literally, he would have never done this back in the day. You know, a lot of characters nowadays, they just do stupid shit that they would have never agreed with or did back then. Joseph, in this case, literally goes for Cody's mom, which we all know he fucking hates her just as much as Junior. So it makes no sense that he did that. And the entire plot is just fucked from the start. So, yeah. Anyways, let me know in the comments what you guys thought were the weirdest SML videos and what I missed. There's definitely more, but these are the ones that I feel like really had a negative impact on my viewing experience, and just even on the channel in some cases, like with Jeffys Kids. And this one is just god-awful, man. It's a 0. So, yeah, that's about it. Like, subscribe, hit your boy up later, and peace out. Take care.